Yeah. Maria thinks I talk like a girl, so she should.
I did not say that.
Okay, so I want to say thank you for coming out tonight for the DNewTech. Again, this is going on over our second year now, so it's a great. I think it's just great seeing everyone coming out, just not only supporting Detroit, Madison, but also the startup community here in the D. And so hopefully you guys will see some really good startups tonight. All of them are part of this, are inside this building. So either with Quicken Loans or with Wisdom Youth. So with that, hey, I usually have to give a shout out to some of the sponsors because without them, I mean, none of this would be able to happen. So a big thanks to Alex here from Core Merchant, a part of the Wisdom Youth, Wisdom family. Does a lot. I don't know how your motto is payment solutions. That makes sense, but I'm going to say it anyways. Tax Ripple, Hans is not here today. But they're a big supporter as well. It's all about taxing and being able to give responses. And we got Blue Water Angels out of Midland. We're talking about not just Detroit, but there are people, there are groups out there outside of the state of Michigan who's really going home and trying to connect, trying to be part of what we're doing here. And it's just not just the city, but God understand it's just more than that. It's the state itself that we're trying to improve. Then we got the Detroit Economic Growth. And then we have the Wisdom, which we're going to give to Maria. She's going to present, talk about the housekeeping, and I'm going to let her share with you what what this beautiful building is all about, the Madison that we're in here. Tech Town. One of the things about Tech Town is that they actually provided the food and the drink. So a great shout out to them. That's my hometown as part of a startup over there. And then Mention knows my software company is an electronic record software. And then we've got Quicken Loans, always been a big, Quicken Loans have always helped us from the very beginning. So again, our Wisdom and Quicken Loans has given us the opportunity to come here tonight. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Maria. She's going to give some housekeeping and share with you some information about the Madison building.
Thanks, Tom. Hey guys, welcome. I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to come hang out with us on this Wednesday night. And I'm curious, of everybody here tonight, how many of you guys, this is your first time to the Madison building? Welcome. Awesome. I'm really happy that you guys are here. Just to help give you a little bit of history behind the Madison. This building was recently purchased and renovated by Bedrock Management, which is Dan Gilbert's property management company. And basically, a real estate holdings company, what his vision for the Madison building was to design this to be really the technology and startup hub of Detroit. So we want to encourage everybody to know that this is our community space, right? We're going to have a whole bunch of different great events. You can actually use this space from time to time for different events, like we're sponsoring the DNewTech Meetup tonight and such. So keep that in mind. You can reach out to me if anybody has interest in that. But here at the Madison building, we've got a variety of great startup companies. We've got Wisdom, which is what I'm part of. Anybody here not familiar with Wisdom so far? Cool. So anybody who isn't, we're actually an entrepreneurship accelerator. We're founded by Dan Gilbert, who's the founder and chairman of Quicken Loans. He's also a partner in Detroit Venture Partners, which is a great venture capital firm located right here in the Madison building. But basically with this and what we do is we help tech and web-based startups to launch very, very cool, innovative companies, right? So we provide funding, training, mentorship, all kinds of great stuff. We're located on the 3rd floor of the Madison building, plus a whole bunch of our Wisdom portfolio companies. Also, Detroit Venture Partners is located on the 3rd floor and 2nd floor. They have some amazing startup companies that are here in this community. So just know, this is our community. Also, just a quick housekeeping item. While we're here, enjoy the 5th floor. The bathrooms are, if you go past where the pizza is, they're straight over there on that wall, so feel free, enjoy the space on the 5th floor. We just ask that the only other floor you're able to go onto tonight is the 1st floor, which is where you came and entered. But at another time, we'll be happy to do a tour. But welcome, everybody. We're happy to have you out tonight. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks to Maria. Actually, she's the one who actually got us the spot for tonight, so appreciate it again. Usually the formality of the DNewTech is we normally have a guest speaker, and I'm usually not the MC. My partner in crime kind of left me hanging today. So I'm going to try to just quickly go over the formality. Basically, we have a guest speaker. Today we have Izzo. So why don't we say thank you for taking the opportunity to kind of come out and talk to the group. And then afterward we have about 3 startups. And then they get 5 minutes to pitch, and then after the demo. And then after that they get 5 minutes to be drilled with questions. One of the things we normally like to do is like when you're a startup company, you always think your baby is the most beautiful. We'd like to say that the DNewTech numbers can kind of prove you wrong. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started here with Dan here. So basically, Dan is the director of product development for Fathead. If you're not sure what Fathead is, it's a life size, anything that's taller than me, a poster that's taller than me, that's a Fathead poster. So us Asians are pretty small, so that's what I'm trying to point out. And then we got him. He's also, I guess he's been in law, so he's got some legal experience here. So I'm going to let him share with you regarding that. And just one of the things I asked him was, can he share something that's funny? I thought he would be some type of comedian. He told me that he's got 3 young kids, and I said, that's not funny. I've got 2. So basically, he does smell like a baby food from what I see. But I'm going to turn it over to him. Welcome, Dan.
How's everybody doing, all right?
Yeah.
Cool. I may wander around. If you can't hear me, you shouldn't have listened to rock and roll so much as a child. My oldest son actually just recently discovered my iPod Nano. So I've got 2 boys and a girl. So they're 5, 3, and 1. And the 5-year-old loves listening to really loud rockabilly. The 3-year-old likes listening to Kanye West and slowly roboting around the house. I'm doing it about 5 times as fast as he does. And the 1-year-old doesn't care as long as she's stealing the iPod from somebody else. So I don't know why I told you that story. It just was fun. It was interesting. Because when you have kids, that's all you kind of think about all day. I'm Dan Izzo. I was employee number 2 or teammate number 2, team member number 2 at DNewTech. And my responsibilities there were to kind of help train entrepreneurs and then help them launch their businesses. While I was at DNewTech, I was there for about 5 years. We launched about a dozen startups, some of whom are actually still around, which is awesome. And some of which exploded like the Hindenburg. Also awesome. It happens. It happens. It happens. Now I'm with Fathead. Fathead, as you were saying, makes vinyl wall graphics. So we're most known for our NFL real big product. You've probably seen our commercial with Clay Matthews if you watch any sports. But some of the other stuff we do, actually, if you look out at some of these murals in the Madison building here, we did those. So we do kind of custom installations as well as those. My job is product development person, right, as the director of product development. I do 2 things. One is perfect job for an Italian fascist like myself. I keep the trains running on time. Okay, no one's ever heard of sleep. All right, cool. Right? You must be an oil painting of a bunch of startups. I can tell by the large number of horn-rimmed glasses and non-ironic Amish beards. So I keep the trains running on time, right? That means I make sure that all of our products that we're rolling out are rolling out on time. Believe it or not, we're already into the NFL season. One of my big responsibilities today was to decide how politically correct Rob Gronkowski, the tight end for the Patriots, is. Rob Gronkowski once famously said that he was going to take Tim Tebow's virginity, so we had to decide whether we wanted to be affiliated with him, with our product or not. I nixed that, right? I'm a father of 3. My kids love Fatheads. They don't need to hear that kind of stuff, except from dear old dad. The other thing I do is to kind of come up with new product ideas and shepherd new product ideas and kind of filter through a lot of ideas that we get over at Fathead. Because we have the NFL license, because we have the MLB license, the NHL, the Big 4, the NBA, Major League Soccer, indoor lacrosse, we sold almost 4 of those last year. Almost 4. We had like 3 refunds. Because we have all those licenses, Everybody who's got a sports idea comes to us and tries to sell us their sports ideas. This week I've looked at toilet seat covers that are reusable, right? Why one would want to reuse a toilet seat cover is a mystery to me. However, you can peel it off and put it back on. The guy was like, you could have a baseball one in baseball season, a football one in football season. Imagine your baseball one sitting around after having spent baseball season on your toilet. You don't want to touch that, much less reuse it. Hey kids, stay out of that closet. That's where Daddy keeps his toilet seat covers. Garbage cans. People wanted to put NFL logos on the sides of garbage cans. I've seen people want to put NFL logos on kegs of beer, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. These guys had a technology that would let you keep your keg cold without ice, right? Which, if you ever went to college, is kind of like the equivalent of putting a man on the moon with a Walkman, right? No rocket. We just have this battery-powered thing on the fucking moon. So, sorry, I swore. I owe Maria $1 every time I swear. So what I wanted to do in terms of like reviewing ideas, working with startups, is kind of give you guys some of my observations that I have over the years of working with startups, thinking about what makes a good startup successful, what makes a bad startup not so good. And at the risk of sounding arrogant, I would just encourage you to kind of take what I'm saying with a mind of openness and spend more time trying to figure out how you would apply what I'm saying to your business rather than trying to figure out why you're the special exception to the rule, right? And believe me, I've seen lots of people who think they are the special exception to the rule. I had a really long debate with an entrepreneur one time about whether or not his business could work with things like profit and loss statements. And he was trying to very passionately convince me, my business is different. We don't use profit and loss statements, right? Which is another way of saying, I want to spend the rest of my life in court arguing with the IRS and jilted investors. I've had people say that we don't need a marketing plan, right? We don't need to sell the product sells itself. Cool, even sex doesn't sell itself, right? You have to have those people on the street corner selling it for you. No? All right, fair enough. But really, just kind of take it with a grain of salt, take it in, try to apply it. The first thing I really want to tell you about business and about startups is, as I always tell my wife, passion is overrated. Nobody cares. Nobody cares at all about how passionate you are about your business. Seriously, like I've been through enough pitches. Nobody cares about how passionate you are about your business, right? People always want to tell you, oh, I'm so passionate about this business. I believe in this business so much, right? I really know this can work, right? Every idea I've received at Fathead, and I've been there 5 months, and I've gone through about 600 ideas thus far. I've never had anyone say to me, like, this is a moderately okay idea. It's probably crappy, but you never know. Right? Everyone tells me this will revolutionize, this will put your business out of business, and that's why I'm bringing these toilet seat covers to you. Right? Passion is just overrated. The most important thing is excellence in execution. Can you execute? Can you execute on your plan? Can you deliver on your plan? Nobody cares about how excited you are. That doesn't prove anything. That doesn't sell anything. Right? If you find that hard to believe, right? Imagine that the product you were trying to sell was a rat taco, right? A taco made of rat meat, right? Would you really care about how passionate that guy was about the rat taco, right? That young woman who came to you and said, I'm squirrel tortillas. That's what I'm making, squirrel fajitas, right? Would you be like, wow, she really loves the hell out of those squirrel fajitas. I must be the idiot. No, you wouldn't. You would never. It doesn't matter because the most important thing, right? The most important thing is the thing itself. The most important thing is the thing itself. The product or service that you sell. Right? The thing that you deliver is the most important thing. Right? If you don't believe me, there's a company which has more money than our country currently does, or probably more money than our country has ever had, called Apple Computer. Right? Apple Computer started in a garage. Right? That was their first warehouse. That was their first factory. It was a garage. They sold their computers through ads in the back of trade magazines. All right? I don't know if you've ever seen the original Apple logo, but it looked like something that a hippie would paint on the side of the bus, 4 days into a long acid trip, right? They had none of the bells and whistles, none of the great window dressing, but what they had was a great product, right? Which at that point was a home computer that could appeal to home computer enthusiasts. There were a lot of people in those days building their own computers, and here was one that was pre-built for you that you could start hacking around with, right? And it had as much memory as 1/1,000,000 of the cheapest iPod you can finally find out there, right? So you've really got to just work on that product, right? The big mistake I see a lot of entrepreneurs making, especially startup entrepreneurs, is instead of spending time working on the product, they spend time working on the website, right? Even if the website is a product, right? They spend far too much time working on the website. Right? Think about it this way. If your business were a good old-fashioned storefront, right? Let's join me in the old-timey world of 1987, right? Back in 1987, there was no World Wide Web, or certainly not in any way that you could access it and buy stuff, right? If you wanted to sell something, you had to go downtown, get yourself a little storefront, right? Put your wares up for sale in that storefront and hope people were going to come on by, right? So you're operating out of your little storefront, you've been there a month, and so far no one has come by, right? So you decide in a fit of brilliance, you know what we need to do is repaint the inside of the store. That'll get some people inside. To which I say, what the hell are you talking about? Right? If you haven't gotten people into the store, what does it matter what the store looks like? Right? And I have seen tons of smart people. That's the other thing. Don't think that you're so smart that you'll never make these mistakes. I've seen brilliant people make the mistake of saying, we're not getting enough web traffic, let's redesign the website. Right? I'm not getting enough leads, I need to buy a new suit. Right? Same logic, doesn't work any better. Right? Don't waste a lot of time designing your website, waste a lot of time improving your product. Yeah? So when you're thinking about what to build with regard to your website, when you're thinking about what to build with regard to your business, right? Go back to the store analogy and think about building signs, think about building sidewalks, think about building doors, right? Because if we take that metaphor of the physical store, that's what allows people to get to your store, find your store, get into your store. Once you've got them in, and you're getting them in on a consistent basis, then you can worry about their behavior once they've gotten in the door. But until you've got them through the door, don't worry about their behavior once they get through the door. Right? Use WordPress, use something equally cheap, off the shelf. I'm a big fan of treating your website like a 7th grade love note. Right? Like super duper simple. Right? Do you like me? Yes, no. Check this box. Right? That's really what your website should be in the first iteration. Here's what we do. You interested? Yes, no. Check this box. Right? And then pass that love note to as many people as you can possibly pass that love note to. Right? We spend a lot of time trying to practice the first date, right? As opposed to just finding out whether they like us or not. Right? You got to get people to engage with your product before you start figuring out how to optimize their engagement with your product. Right? Get them in the door of the store, then figure out how to sell them stuff. Yeah? But if you're not getting in the door of the store, it doesn't matter what the store looks like. And here's where I'm probably starting to lose some of you. I probably lost some of you on that crazy story about my kids and the iPod. Right? For those of you who are still with me, here's where I lose the rest of you. Right? You're thinking, well, my business is a website. Right? I absolutely have to build that up. All right, if your business is truly some sort of web service, right, that can only be accessed through the web, then yes, you're going to spend some time on your website. But you got to spend your time on your website in kind of an MVP kind of way, right? The minimum viable product. Right? For those of you who are familiar with the lean startup methodologies, right, you just build the bare bones minimum, right? The classic story from MVP kind of lean startup way of thinking about things is the first product that they launched was like it was a crazy avatar-based email system. right? Nowadays people would like laugh at it. I mean, imagine before we all had broadband, how absolutely horrible this product must have been. And I almost owed you $1. You could tell I was going for a swear, and I didn't, right? I kept it clean. They spent all this time building this really fancy avatar-based email system, right? And then when they launch the product, nobody's downloading it. They cannot get a single person to download it, right? Maybe they get a dozen people or so to download it. They spent all this time building something and they can't even get anyone to engage to the point of downloading it. Spent all this time bug testing something that no one was ever going to encounter the on switch, much less the bug, right? You know, we built a car and there's nobody who wants to drive, right? So what Eric Ries, who did the lean startup methodology, realized is, you know what? What I should have done, build a website, let people come to the website, click the download button, and then say, oh, I'm terribly sorry, we've exceeded our server capacity for the day, but we'll let you know when you can download it next time, right? Now you get 1,000 people clicking that button, oh, there must be some interest in this product, right? There must be something going on with this product, right? Now maybe we should develop it, right? Or you start talking to people who came to your website and didn't click the button. Why didn't you click the button? All right? You start talking to that girl who won't check the yes box. Why don't you like me? Right? Well, mainly because your fly's on, you have bad acne. Oh, okay, cool. Is there one thing I can work on? The other one, God gave me. Right? The other thing is, so that you know that you've got that sense that your website is the business. The other thing that I hear a lot is, well, I don't want to drive traffic to something, right, that's no good, right? I don't want to lose that level of engagement, right? I hear that. But again, I mean, think back to what websites were like. Some of you are probably not old enough to have been alive in 1995, God bless you, right? But think what websites were like in 95, 96, 97, 98, when we finally started creeping into the AOL-dominated universe, right? And could actually get on the web directly. I mean, there are some crappy websites out there, right? One of the crappiest websites ever is probably one of the most used websites ever. Okay? Craigslist, right? Somebody said it, yeah. Right? I mean, the design of Craigslist is horrifying, right? If you showed someone Craigslist nowadays, they'd be like, why would you build this? Right? Where are the buttons? Where's the like buttons? Where's the sharing? Right? Where's the flash-based content? Right? And as many people hit Craigslist as any other thing, right? Craigslist, if they were interested in making ridiculous money, right? Craigslist should be a Facebook. Craigslist should be going public with $1 billion valuation. The guy who started it, Craig, right, doesn't have a lot of interest in doing that, right? There's a great article out there in Wired magazine about him that you should read about how much he absolutely despises everyone who uses this product. Right? Which again proves the point of you need not be passionate about your business, right? I mean, he like violently hates that business, right? He probably rues the day that he came up with Craigslist, right? But it lets him hang out in his apartment with fellow geeks and not have to interact with human beings, and so that's kind of the price he's willing to pay, right? So that notion of you got to build it perfect, that's what I'm saying, think back to 1997, think back to those bad websites. Because now we have so many tools at our disposal that can make something look super sharp, right? Or at least sharp enough, right? I mean, how many websites out there have you seen where there's like you click the buy page and then there's a column for the gold, the freebie package, the gold package, the silver package, the platinum package, right? That's a WordPress plugin. That's a WordPress template, right? You slap that on there, right? Oh, we notice a lot of people are clicking the silver, not a lot of people are clicking the gold. Now we're learning something, right? As opposed to paying some guy, and trust me, right? I've dealt with a ton of web programmers, right? A lot of you are in the room. I will try not to offend you with this, right? But web programmers, designers in general, engineers in general, people who want your money, want as much of it out of you as they can possibly extract, right? And they're very good-hearted about it, right? But if you say to somebody who's very skilled at their craft, hey, do you want to just build me something from scratch, or do you want to like just come over to my house and build the IKEA couch? They're like, oh no, You cannot have the IKEA, right? I will design you a couch from scratch. I will design you a couch that the Vikings will sing about in legendary songs, right? And by the way, it's $100,000. And by the way, the functionality that you're going to get out of it is about equivalent to a WordPress template, which is free. I'm certainly not trying to say that web folks and web designers and those types of folks are out to rip you up. Not at all, right? But if you come to them with this, my thing has to have this, right? My website has to look this way, sound this way, feel this way. It's got to have these colors and this layout and this and this and this, right? And the bells and whistles, they will deliver what you want at a very high price, right? And you've made the mistake of trying to decorate the store to perfection before anybody shows up, right? I'd love for you to be able to jump in a time machine and go back and look at the first McDonald's and compare it to how it looks nowadays. Really, if you had the time machine, do us all a favor, kill Hitler. But then go and, no, everyone's like, no, we're going to let that go. All right, fine. Didn't realize it was that kind of crowd. All right. There's no way that first McDonald's had everything locked in the way that McDonald's looks now, right? McDonald's is perpetually tweaking their layout of their thing. They don't have it all figured out, right? So allow yourself that kind of like gritty experience, right? Drive the traffic. Let people have a little bit of gritty experience. Because, going back to my second point, the absolute most important thing is the product, right? You come up with something like Craigslist that, as ugly as it is, frickin' works, right? You want to list something for sale, get it out to a bunch of people who might buy it, and not have to pay anything? I mean, I don't care how Craigslist works. You know, I've sold crap on Craigslist for no money to me, right? I mean, it always feels like some sort of weird drug transaction because you're meeting in a parking lot, right? You got the cash, yeah, you got the stuff, all right, let's hand it over, you let go, no, you let go, right? That's Craigslist for you, but still. Yeah. So what you're trying to do with all this, right, just by focusing on product, is just seeing where you can get the little bit of traction, right? Where can you find traction, right? And when you find that traction, run where you have traction. Your goal is to run, right? Your goal is not to walk, your goal is not to crawl, your goal is to run. And so when you find traction, you've got to run. And you've got to run where you find traction. And this is the other thing that breaks people's hearts, right? I don't want to be in this business, I want to be in this business, right? Well, this business over here is not doing so well for you, is it? No, but that's the business I want to be in. That's my dream, that's my passion. Who gives a fuck? $2. There's a $2 minimum with any Dan Izzo speech, right? So, and my record is $85. So please hang on to your hats. So you've got all that passion about what you're doing, and then you've got customers who are saying like, hey, no, we like this other thing that you're doing. Right? I'll give you a good example of that with Fathead, right? Everybody loves Fathead. Everybody wants to work at Fathead, be part of Fathead. Why? Because, like, if you go up to somebody on the street, like, hey, do you like sports? You like entertainment? Yes, I typically like sports and entertainment. People think it's all sports and entertainment, and it's fun, right? Sports and entertainment is absolutely fun, right? Early on, Fathead's biggest license was NFL, right? And everybody who was a sports fan wanted to work there, right? And everybody who worked there was a sports fan, right? So we're like, NFL, NFL, NFL. Everybody's pushing NFL. Everybody's pushing sports. We're going to do more sports, bigger sports, sports, right? And then people like myself on the outside were looking at it and going like, boy, it seems to me that, like, if you're going to put something big on your wall, right, you're decorating a room. And who decorates rooms, right? You know, typically it's not dudes, right? I mean, you can tell a dude decorated this room. They apparently bought a bunch of seats from a Denny's in 1977 and slapped the cushions on the walls, right? I kid because I love it, right? It's typically women, right? The room in the house that gets decorated the most often is the kids' room, right? Why is that? Because they grow up, right? You know, your kids are first into Barney, right? Do not let your kids get into Barney, right? You will very often find yourself with a suicide note saying, I blame you, Barney, if you let your kids watch Barney. right? But first they get into Barney, then they get into Spider-Man, then they get into Superman, then they get into sports. So you're constantly redecorating that kid's room, right? Well, Fathead's a great product for kids, right? But if you've got all this NFL stuff, where's your stuff for kids? Where's your first version of it, right? That's going to get a lifelong customer. Well, we don't want to do that. We want to be in sports, right? We want to hang out with sportos, right? We want to have, famous athletes come by and endorse our product. Yeah, that's all cool. But meanwhile, over here, the people who love your product, want to use your product the most, are going unneglected, or being neglected. Not going unneglected. That would be a good thing, right? Eventually, Fathead got a change of leadership at the top, got a change of attitude at the top, and started getting more and more into entertainment properties, right? So much so that last year, our #1 selling Fathead was The Amazing Spider-Man, right? Because The Amazing Spider-Man works for nerdy dudes like myself, right? It works for kids, right? It works for teenagers, right? We sold more Amazing Spider-Man than we did of any other thing, including Tim Tebow, which was our second one, right? It just shows you that you've got to focus on where you're getting traction, right? The other thing I would encourage you in terms of getting traction is dig a little deeper in the well. It's always better to dig down than to try to expand the well, right? You're getting a little bit of traction with this client. What else does this client need from you, right? You've got a fish on the hook, right? Yeah, you could try to fish for a different type of fish, but man, wouldn't it be nice to let that fish get big and then reel it into the boat, right? Where you have traction is where you go. You dig deeper in the well. You really drive deeper into what you're doing, right? A lot of people abandon the well, right, and think, okay, yeah, we're doing pretty good at this. We probably should try to do this, right? Well, we're doing everything we can here, right? They abandon the well too soon in the process. You got to just go deeper and deeper into that well. That's one of the things I've tried to bring to Fathead is what I've been kind of we have a lot of tent poles at Fathead because we've gotten into this kind of smarter thing about entertainment, but we need to build the rest of the tent, right? I'll give you a good example. Anyone know who Kate Upton is? I knew Brett Demeray would know. It would be the only man willing to raise his hand. God bless him. And Jake up in the back, right? Cool. Two guys.
Is she from Michigan?
Yeah. Kate Upton's from Michigan. Her uncle was Fred Upton, a congressman, and she was the most recent Sports Illustrated cover suit model. Sports Illustrated cover suit model? Yeah, something like that. Swimsuit cover model. When I got to Fathead, we had just acquired the license to Kate Upton, right? Which meant one of my first assignments was to figure out what types of images we were using of Kate Upton, right? I thought I had been hit by a car, and I was in heaven, right? We figured that all out, and then I quickly figured out, well, wait a minute. People come to our website, and if they want NFL, they know we got all the NFL, right? They come to our website, they want superheroes, we got all the superheroes. They come to our website, they want movies, we've got all the top movies, right? They come to our website, and buried in amongst there is Kate Upton, right? Lonely, sad, needing comfort from an older man, right? It doesn't matter if we get Kate Upton if we don't get the next 9 models in that category, right? If we're going to open that category, we're going to open that category. Kate and other models can certainly serve as a good tent pole, but what are we doing to get the rest of the category built out, right? Because now we can market that, right? If you're not a Kate Upton guy, right, well then you're not going to come to our website, you're going to kind of wander away, right? Just like on the website, we wouldn't just have the Detroit Lions, right? That's an easy example, but think about, well, different price points, right? If we captured all the price points, right? There may be people who want to engage in our product but don't want to engage it at the $99 level, right? Maybe they want to engage at the $49 level. So let's come up with some price points there, right? We're digging deeper in the well. We're taking those people who are coming and we're figuring out how to convert all of them, right? Okay, price is an objection. Let's take that off the table, right? Let's give them more options. And that's really worked for us pretty well. Like I said, we're about a $30 million company now. Our goal is to be $100 million in a couple of years. Earning money is the most important thing you do, right? It's not PR, it's not hype, right? And I don't mean in like this greedy earning money kind of thing. I just mean you can't feed your family on hype, right? Hype won't pay your rent. PR won't pay your rent. I worked with a lot of startups that are very fascinated and excited by the amount of PR that you have, right? You know, I did an infomercial with Tony Little, right? That crazy weight loss guy, right? With the ponytail, right? He's about this big in real life, right? It was awesome. I was on TV, right? None of you remember that, right? I could go around telling people, I was on TV. Oh, yeah, whatever, right? Yeah, I could be on TV. All I have to do is stab my wife and bury the body, right? It ain't that hard to get on TV in America, right? There's an excitement about getting good PR. Oh, wow, we got good PR. There's an excitement about hype. You know, you get a couple Twitter mentions and you're like, we're the shiz, right? That's 50 cents, right? And ironically enough, a quote from 50 cents. People get excited by hype. People get excited by PR. People get excited by buzz, but none of that carries any water, right? It's revenue. It's getting in that basic transaction of getting people to pay you money to do what you're trying to get them to do, right? Selling them a product or service, getting money. That's where your focus needs to be, right? Getting the product, getting it sold to people. One of the things I was asked about to speak about, and that's kind of the final point I want to make. That's very loud when I get in close. Right? I mean, your backyard. Right? Anyway, that was a creepy thing to say. Right? I was asked about raising funds. Right? Like, hey, could you talk a little bit about raising funds? Right? I am a bad guy to ask about that because I have a really bad attitude when it comes to raising money. Right? And my attitude was encapsulated by the great poet philosopher Biggie Smalls, right? Who said, "Mo money, mo problems." Right? I would try, if I were doing a startup, right? I would try to avoid taking other people's money like it was the plague, right? I'm going to go ahead and prepay Maria $1. I would treat that money like they wiped their ass with it and they're handing it over, right? I'd be super duper reluctant to take it, right? In all my experience working with startups and launching a few startups of my own and being involved with the startup world, right? I have never seen anyone be gracious after they've given money. Feels very gracious when they're giving you the money, right? We believe in you, Teddy. Here's $10,000. Oh, that's awesome. How gracious of him, right? 2 weeks later, you're getting a call. So how's the $10,000 doing? Right? You done anything with it yet? And your answer is, well, the server. And they're like, how much money are you making me with that server, Teddy? Well, not much. We need to buy another one. You wouldn't have to have another 10,000, right? And they're like, okay, I'm going to be right over. I'm going to be a very large gentleman with baseball bats, and we're going to wreck your server. And then we're going to wreck you, right? It doesn't go down quite like that, right? The gentlemen with baseball bats tend to be lawyers or business consultants, right? We're going to bring in an advisory team to help you out here. Right? Not that there's anything wrong with advice. I would take free advice all day long. Anybody who want to give you free advice, take it. Even take the bad free advice, right? At best, you're getting what you paid for, right? But taking money comes with a lot of expectations, right? So I would be super reluctant to take money. That's not to say that you shouldn't take money. I just be really smart about when you take money, right? I think a good time to take money is when you have a little bit of traction and know that by adding capacity, you could take more advantage of the traction you do have. Right? That's not going to work for everybody. Right? If your idea is, hey, I'm a former executive from an airline, and I've got a bunch of friends of mine who know how to do logistics of routes, and so we're going to start a pet service that's going to fly pets all across America on exclusive pet airlines, right? You probably need capital, right? You're going to be really hard to say, Mom and Dad, lend me 10 grand for my puppy plane, right? It's not going to work like that, right? But for most of the businesses that are true startups, most of the businesses that are in this room, I'd start with what you can do. I'd start with what you can self-fund, right? I'd start with what you can get out of customers more so than what you can get out of investors, right? VCs have infinite expectations from you, right? When they give you that $10,000, that $100,000, that $300,000, they're hoping that you're going to be the one that's going to put a 30 to 100 multiplier on that money, right? And they're going to start getting a little nervous when they don't. VCs will tell you, oh, you know, we make 100 bets, and if one of them hits, we're happy, and the other 99, well, that's just the price of playing the game, right? Bullshit, right? What they do is they hound those 100, right, until finally someone hits, right? The other 99 cry themselves to sleep at night, right? But they win the game, right? I don't mean to make it quite so rough, so I shouldn't have, but I did, because it's rough. It's that rough. There's a big degree of expectation, right? So try as often to take money that has little expectation, no expectation. I've become more of a fan of loans in my old age, right? Yes, loans suck because you have to pay them back. The beauty of a loan, though, is you pay it back on a schedule, right? And when you've got it all paid back, they go away, right? The bank doesn't get to tell you, hey, guess what? We gave you that loan. Now we own part of your business, right? Remember when we were just being an asshole to you? We gave you that $10,000 and we just rode you like a government mule, right? Well, now that you finally have figured it out, where's my cut, right? Boy, that was an evil laugh. This guy was like, I'm scared of your laugh. It was a scary laugh, sir. I could see why. Really try to avoid taking money for as long as you can. Take money when it is the most beneficial to you, right? The other reason I'm against taking money is because people spend a lot of time trying to raise money, right? Time that would be better spent working on the product, talking to customers, right? Tweaking that product and trying to gain traction, right? So rather than spending all your time, like, write a business plan that's meaningful to you. Here's what we need to achieve in the next 6 months. That's a plan, right? You don't have to start writing a plan that automatically starts talking about exit strategies, right? See a lot of startup entrepreneurs, hey, well, we got to put an exit strategy in this plan. Here's a better question for you. Where's a startup strategy in this plan, right? Have you figured out how to get this thing going? You're already talking about shutting her down, selling her off, and you haven't sold anything, done anything? You know, think about your startup strategy. The other depressing bit of news that I'll deliver to you is this. Sometimes your startup idea, it feels like a company idea, and what it really is a product idea. And you might be better off taking your product idea to somebody who's got all of the mechanisms in place that you don't have in place, right? That has that sales team in place, that has that marketing team in place, that has the capital to develop it, right? That's where a lot of, we see a lot of software startups getting bought out, but what's really happening is they've developed a thing. They have no freaking clue how to sell the thing, market the thing, do the financials to keep the thing alive, and someone comes along and goes, you know what, that's actually what we do on a regular basis, is keep things alive. Our name's Google, here's your check, have a nice day, Instagram, right? And that's how we move on, right? Yeah, just take $1 billion from Facebook. That should be your plan, $1 billion from Facebook. I want to leave you with that. So really think about whether you're taking money. Think about whether you have a company on your hands. Right? The best way to figure that out is to get out and try to get traction with customers. So those are, again, random thoughts that I've had from working with different startups. I would encourage you to see what applies to your business, think about what applies to your business, and accept it with the light heart that it was delivered.
When you guys can drill down with questions. We've got about 5 minutes of asking questions, so go ahead. The only thing I have is that person who said that Brett Apple idea, what about a dog time?
You can work in certain parts of the world, sure.
Okay. All right.
Pretty sure I ate one of those at Tijuana once. So.
Who's got questions? Anybody? No questions for Dave?
Yes, sir.
Does Fathead, are they into the fine art market or the decorative art market as opposed to sports and entertainment?
We are. Yeah, we're actually getting into that, and we're kind of tweaking our current model that we have there. But we have sub-licensed a bunch of the fine works of art that we make now into Fatheads. We do it in this kind of particularized way that we're going away from. We did it in this way where we have these replaceable squares of art, and now we're just going to kind of take that and turn it into real digs. So yeah, we're definitely going down that path. We're also trying to go down the path of working with artists to let them set up microsites and micro stores so that they can kind of upload their stuff. Because we get approached by a lot of artists who say, you should totally license my stuff. It's like, well, you haven't built an audience right? We're not going to just write you a check for $10,000 and then build an audience for you. But we want to create a platform that would let people build their audience and sell their stuff directly.
You have a storefront for ours where people could order the
Yeah.
things inside.
Yeah, we just handle the fulfillment. You go build the audience, you let us deal with the tricky part of dealing with the suppliers, right? Behind there.
You talked a little bit about passion wasn't it.
Yep.
Excellence in execution was.
Yep.
You talked about product, but there's a lot more to execution than product. Any
Absolutely.
other things you want to help us out with that? How would we know if we have excellence in execution?
Oh, sure. Do I need this or am I okay? That's just creeping me
Great
out.
so far.
All right, cool. Thanks, though. Boy, that's that's almost like,
It's not like pornography. You're going to see it, you know it.
you are a secret Zen master sent you to confound us with that question, right? You're like, what is excellence?
Well, I gotta imagine you've seen some plans or something that you say, oh, these people have got it right. They're not just on the passion, they've got some excellence in execution.
The
What are
way
those
that I
attributes?
see that, the way that I've been able to observe that, right, is through tenacity, right? And that's why people mistake passion as being the key as opposed to tenacity being the key, right? Coming up with a plan, executing on the plan, right? And then learning from the plan, and then executing on the better, improved version of the plan. Right? That's really where I see it. And I can much more easily identify the opposite of that, which is lack of execution. And that shows up as, hey, we've got this plan. Boy, this is hard. We need a new plan. Right? As opposed to, we've got this plan, and plan 3 months out. Okay, in 3 months, we're going to talk to 50 prospects. Right? And at the end of those 3 months, we're going to evaluate those 50 prospects have told us. Right? I've seen a lot of people come up with that great plan and then execute that plan by talking to 5 prospects, being very disappointed with the answers that they got, and figuring that they needed to retweak everything. You know? So it's coming up with a plan, executing on the plan. It doesn't mean blind adherence to the plan, but it's that follow through and that tenacity in the face of adversity. Does that help?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to know about how you got your first customer. It seems to me there would be a lot of competition to do what you do. How did you distinguish yourself and go in and get the big contracts that you have?
You talking through Fathead?
Right.
Luckily, Fathead had been around for a while when I started with them, so I didn't have to do any of that personally. The key there with Fathead, though, when Fathead first got started, was getting that exclusive license. Right? It's kind of the model that the record industry used to be built on. Right? You go out and you scout out something that you know is going to sell. Right? You've got the sales mechanism in place. Great. Now we're going to exclusively license you, Elvis Presley. Right? We're going to be the only people who can sell Elvis records. We're going to be the only people who can sell Beatles records. Right? That exclusive license can go a long way towards getting you somewhere. So that can be very helpful. Right? The trick is you have to have some kind of backing to get that exclusive license. You have to be able to prove yourself out. So it's tricky. I'm glad I wasn't there at the start.
Right.
Yeah. Because I'd have even less hair.
We can take one more question. I got a question there.
Yeah.
When you talk about the business.
I'll come to you too. We'll take 2 more.
No, go ahead.
I was just curious what customer acquisition strategies work best for you guys today. Is it television or other strategies that are converting best for you and getting you customers on board?
The stuff that converts the best for us is emailing our existing customer base. Right? Letting them know new products we have, letting them know sales that we're having, just continually re-engaging them to perpetually up our lifetime value of a customer. Right? And lifetime value of a customer is something that as you get deeper into business, as you finally get out of that survival mode and get into growth mode, you need to understand what the lifetime value of a customer is. Right? For Fathead, it's probably about $120. So that if we know that getting a customer gets us $120 over the time of their life, we can spend up to $119.99, and it's worth it for us to get that customer. Right? That's not a great return on investment, but still, you're at least increasing the amount of money you have, not decreasing.
May I just follow up on that question? So then what percentage of your sales time toward that group that you just talked about?
We're a fairly big company. We have like 120, some, not 120, like we just got to about 100 folks, right? But I mean, up till recently, we were about 50 folks. So you have a couple people who are dedicated to that. When you're a solo entrepreneur or a small company entrepreneur, that's where I would really think about digging deep in the well, and I would spend a significant amount of your time making sure you're getting all that you can get out of those existing customers. I mean, again, it depends on the business model. We're like a once a year purchase as Fathead, but some services, back when I was a lawyer, you know, there were clients that you could get that would kind of be recurring, you know, kind of evergreen type things. So it depends a little bit on kind of what your customer turnover is, what your sales cycle is, right? You know, the longer your sales cycle, the more likely it is that you're selling something that you're going to make a lot of money off of. So now you got to spend that much more time, you know. Hunting elephants is harder than hunting ants, but you eat a lot better when you catch an elephant.
Always get that big house, that client would feed you. But thanks, Dan.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so next up, we're going to go ahead and move forward and have Paul Glumsky of Detroit Lab. I was supposed to give a brief bio of Nathan, but he apparently couldn't be here, so I'm going to let Paul introduce himself as I pull this up. So go ahead, Paul.
Yeah. So today I was in a meeting with Nathan Hughes. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Detroit Labs. So today I was in a meeting with Nathan Hughes, and he stared off into space and he said, "Oh shit! Oh, do I have to pay right now?" He said, "I have this thing tonight, and I can't go." He had some other performance or something that he had to go to. So he said, "Paul, or anybody else in the room, can you do it?" And I was going to be here in the office anyway, so here I am. Just to give you, and I'm glad I came too, because I always learn a lot whenever I hear Dan talk, and it's always entertaining too. So thank you for that. So I don't have a slide either. I was told I was supposed to have a slide. So Detroit Labs. What's that? Oh yeah, that's great. I did it myself. So Detroit Labs. Actually, today is our 1-year anniversary from when we started paying. What's that? From when we started paying the first person. So a year ago, actually before we started paying the first person, which happened to be Nathan Hughes, who should be here. It wasn't me. Before that, we were actually trying to find paying clients before we even started the business. I'll just tell you what we do really quickly. We have our business is two parts. One is a services business, and then we also do this cool thing on the side for 20% of our time called Lab Time. Our services business, we make web and mobile apps for clients. So clients like Domino's Pizza say, "Hey, we want to make a mobile ordering app so people can order pizza from their iPhone or Android." And we say, "Great, we have a team of people who can help you do that." And that's actually one app that we did. The other part of our business, which we target spending 20% of our time on, is kind of our mad scientist project time. The goal is to spin off companies and potentially turn Detroit Labs team members into successful entrepreneurs on their own with this 20% time with scalable, potentially profitable businesses. That's one goal. Finding a balance between focusing on clients and taking that 20% time is always a challenge, but we're doing a decent job of it, and it's really good for a lot of other reasons. Even if all we do is come up with side projects that never actually make any money, it's really good for our culture. It's good for our pitch when we go to clients. We tell them, "Hey, look, we do this 20% time. We're in this entrepreneurial hub. We are essentially bringing startup ideas and startup energy to your Fortune 500 business. And oh, by the way, we spend all this time doing R&D with cutting-edge technologies that we don't have to experiment with on your dime, and we can bring that to you." So that's kind of some value that we bring. That's our business. As I was just sitting thinking, I didn't realize today was our 1-year anniversary until somebody sent out an email. So I looked up some stats. As of today, we have 16 full-time people. We're this close to hitting double-digit. Well, actually, it's not double-digit, but we're north of $1 million in revenue. And we're this close to twice that. So I've actually never publicly said what our revenues are, but I looked at today and I was really pleased with that, and sent it out to the team. A year ago, we were a website company that we were actually selling to clients that we would develop their website, and we had no website ourselves. So we followed Dan's advice, and we did focus on our website. What we found is that it certainly was a challenge to sell website development services if we didn't have a website, but we still did it. And these weren't just Dan Gilbert's friends. Dan Gilbert's funding our business. They weren't just his friends; these were actually outside arm's length businesses. So we've come a long way since then. We've actually done 2 versions of our website. One thing Dan also said was to find where you have traction and go for it. So we originally thought we were going to do half of our business website development and half of it mobile app development. And what I immediately saw was that there was a tremendous gap between the supply of mobile app development resources and a huge growth in demand for mobile app services, much more so than websites. It commands a higher premium. So we immediately shifted all of our focus, and maybe not all of it, but a lot of our focus into mobile app developments for clients. And it's gone well. We did the 2 of the most talked about apps this year. The Domino's Pizza ordering app, which is processing over $1 million a day of pizza sales. We did an app called Chevy Game Time, which was super exciting. It was a second screen experience for people who were at Super Bowl parties, but didn't really care very much about the Super Bowl, so it gave them something else to do. GM, it was a Chevy-sponsored app. They gave away 20 cars through the app. And in this room, actually, on Super Bowl Sunday, GM made this their Super Bowl headquarters. So we had all their executives here. The chief marketing officer of General Motors was here with his team, and their creative agency, Goodby Silverstein Partners. So it was kind of surreal to see that. With a company that hadn't been in business for even a year at that point. So a lot of it's from all the energy in this building, and a lot of great mentors like Dan, Josh Linkner, and some others. I'm not sure if the format is here. Do we open it up for questions?
You got questions here now? Perfect timing.
Okay. All right.
Anybody? Questions? We're gonna have 5 minutes of questions here.
I'm going to steal Greg's question from earlier. Customer acquisition, what do you find is the most effective strategy for you?
So we're a services business, and where we started with was existing relationships. So our first real paying clients were somehow connected to one of either of our co-founders or our team members. And that's how it's hard to sell. It's hard to sell services when you have no experience to point to, and you do everything you can to talk about the experience of the team. So with a product, it's totally different. But for a service, your relationship can go a long way.
Go ahead.
I have a question. So I want a Domino's pizza. So you have an app that I would go into and
Yep. Go to the App Store, download Domino's, whether it's iPhone or Android, download the app. When you're hungry, you order a pizza from it.
and this is one of the biggest selling products that you guys have.
So this is one where we didn't actually make the app and then sell it to them. Domino's, we found out that they were struggling with their team internal to Domino's that was building it. So we came to them and said, we have a team that you can essentially rent to help make the app better. So they own it, but we're the ones who do all the work. We actually do it here in this building. Occasionally we go out to Domino's, but it's a service that we do for them. So they own it, and they pay us to build it and maintain it.
The $1 million worth of sales, is that just in Detroit alone?
No, it's all over the country. Yeah.
Are you guys mostly doing iOS or Android, or is it pretty even?
Most companies come to us and they say, we want to do an app. If they have a limited scope, they almost always want to do an iPhone app first. If they're General Motors, they say, we want to do it all. So they, so the Chevy Game Time app, for example, we made 3 versions of it: iPhone, iPad, and one that worked on Android devices. Android's tough to develop for, though, because there are just so many Android devices out there. I mean, it's a huge challenge.
Do you prefer iOS then?
Well, so we have really passionate people on both sides, both Android and iPhone. We can talk about politics all day long, but if you talk about iOS versus Android, then it's like off limits, because there'll be a seriously difficult conversation among the team members. So it depends on who you talk to.
How do you go about finding good employees to bring on board during your growth?
The first few were really important, and I found them through my network. Josh Linkner is he's chairman of our board of directors, and he's a good friend of mine. I used him to find some good co-founders that after I talked to them, I brought them onto the team, and if you bring on good people, they attract good people. For us, it's more about attraction than it is search. So we make the environment that we have is just freaking awesome. We deliver. We don't have intellectual property. We don't have a product. All we have is our people. So that's really cool, because I like working around good people anyway. So it's good that that's an important thing for our business. And we just do that by making a great place to work.
Richard?
The 20% that you the 20%
Yep.
things, are you working with products, or are you just taking technologies and making prototypes to show the customers? I guess my question is, like, are you taking innovative ideas and making the apps or websites out of them, or are you actually just taking maybe new technologies and making kind of mock prototypes to show customers what exactly are you doing?
Can you repeat the question?
So the question is, what's our approach, and what do we do what's our approach with our 20% time, and what do we do with the prototypes or the apps or websites, the web apps that we develop during that? We're actually, so the way we do it is we kind of have a group brainstorming session, and then individual team members who take an interest in a product or an idea, they self-organize and they form a team. And we subscribe to the minimum viable product approach. We actually, when we prototype something, usually it's with sticky notes. Usually it's with sticky notes and a chart on a whiteboard somewhere, and then we try to use the product if that type of model supports it. But we're not at the point where we're taking it to our clients that we do service work for. But depending on what the actual product is, we'll bring people in to get feedback as early as possible. But we're still super early in that stage. We've been in existence for 12 months. Our focus has been on getting paying clients that can fund the growth of our business. We took on investment, but it was a really small amount. And my goal has been to build the business on our own funding and on with our customers' dollars. So that's been the focus. The 20% time, we actually don't have any products that have been completed from it. Just a bunch of cool ideas that are kind of in the works. So we'll see what happens. At some point we may take them to existing clients, but it does make for a good story when we approach clients, and it does expose us to some technologies that are good to get experience in, so that when our clients do come to us with a project that is related, then we can at least point to that.
Okay. Give it up to Paul. And actually, I did use I used the Domino website to order today, so awesome, worked great. Okay, so Stacy's up next. Stacy's with Savorfull, and it's what Savorfull is. It gives new meaning to living your best life with a food allergy. And Stacy here, she's the CEO and founder. She's got some product here, and sounds like hopefully you brought up everyone. And then she's a self-proclaimed health and allergy-free food product fanatic. So I'm going to turn it over to Stacy here and get your presentation rolling.
Hi, and thank you for having me tonight. Yeah, I'm Stacy Goldberg, and I am the CEO and founder of Savorfull. I am one of the newest Izzo businesses, and I'm very excited to be here sharing my concept with you. So my background, just a little bit, I'm a nutritionist turned tech person. So I came in, and I remember sitting in front of Izzo and pitching my idea to him with the first round of Wisdom, and which is completely different than what it is today. So we know all about pivots and minimum viable products. So I'm excited to be presenting to you. I just finished my accelerator, and we have our first round, what we are calling Savorfull. So Savorfull is allergy-free foods delivered to your doorstep to discover, taste, and share. And as a nutritionist, I've had a consulting practice and been in the service business for many years. And this is actually my third company that I've launched. My first one was called A Way of Life, then What's in Your Cart, and now Savorfull. And in my practice, I have found that there are an increasing number of Americans with food allergies. And more than 12 million Americans have food allergies, which is 1 in 25. In the United States, an estimated 3 million children under 18 have food allergies. 35 to 50 million Americans are believed to have at least one food intolerance, typically this lactose intolerance. And so I have discovered that in my practice, it was very evident to me that finding foods that actually taste good, that are nutrient dense and healthy when you have a restrictive lifestyle is very challenging. And that actually was validated when a recent study came out saying the global market for food and allergy and intolerance products is set to hit $26.5 billion in the next 5 years. So being a product fanatic, I've scoured every grocery store in every city across America almost for products that I think are unbelievable, from small local food producers to large brands. And that is how Savorfull was born. So I'm sitting here listening to Dan thinking about my website, which I can't even, for months I've been complaining to the Wisdom team that I can't look at it anymore, it's so ugly, but I recognize the importance of that. It started off as just a landing page, and this is really just determining, do we have a product out there that people will want? So Wisdom was great at helping me break down, what do you want to do every day, Stacy, and what is your passion? So I said, I really want to get allergy-free foods that taste good into people's houses across the world, where they go into their grocery stores, they may not know that these products exist. So that's what we did. We came up with a concept that is now, this is our first round, and every month we deliver a product to the consumer's doorstep that has 5 samples of my favorite hand-picked products every month. And they get to discover them, taste them, and share them with their family. And so each monthly subscription includes the samples, and then every month there will be a unique URL for each member to go on my site and to be able to see the nutritional information, information about the producer, why I love it, all my tips and tricks around those foods, and how to use it. Because we found that people may find a delicious gluten-free pasta in the store, but they have no idea what to do with it. So, nor do they know if it's nutritionally dense. So what we're doing is helping them to make this very simple, find some new products every month that can change their life, and learn how to use them. So we are ready to jumpstart their taste buds. So what is our revenue model? We are a monthly subscription service. Right now we're offering 1 month and 6 months. Eventually we'll have a yearly subscription, and we believe this could be a great gift offer. At this point in time, I should mention, we are targeting people who have gluten allergies, celiac disease, people who have a peanut allergy, and a dairy allergy. Long term, we want to customize the site to be able to have each customer go in and be able to pick their own food allergies, so it can be a customized box for them. But we're starting slowly. Walk before you run. So our marketing channel, we're a monthly subscription service, but we are also becoming a marketing channel for these food producers. We are really working with, producers from people in Detroit, that I find at a farmer's market that you would never even know about, to some of the bigger brands. And my vision is in each box to represent some real small niche companies that you would never know about, to bigger brands that maybe we have some more leverage to work with. Eventually, we will also be an e-commerce site. We are not a site right now. We will be a distribution channel as well. So who is our major competition? Well, there are many monthly subscription services out there. You may have heard of companies like Foodsy or Guilt that do gourmet foods. We don't have anyone that's directly doing allergy foods like we are right now from a nutritionist perspective. So we believe that we are a value add in that respect. And our competition will be food allergy e-commerce sites. They will be selling some of the same foods that we are, but also brick and mortar retail stores. We will be, showing customers product that, yes, we recognize they can get some of them at, Whole Foods, but we eventually hope to be able to work in a large scale with some of those grocery stores, knowing that we're helping to promote that. So what is our Savorfull status as of now? So we are in beta. We just really launched privately, and to Paul's point, we started with my existing client base. We started to really reach out to my customers, my clients, to just see if people would even buy this product, because as I've learned in the Lean Startup Method by Eric Ries, that the minimum viable product is so important, because you could sit and theorize all day long about a product, but will anybody buy it? And the good news is we have currently, we just launched in beta about a month ago. We have about 500 subscribers, and we've sold 210 boxes through October of this year. So most of the people that bought, at least 50%, had bought for 6 months, and we weren't even sure if we were going to offer that. But at the very last minute, I just said, hey, let's see if people will be willing, because as I spent some time with Josh Linkner, and he said, you have to see what the lifespan of this customer is going to be. And I really believe that as long as we can keep infusing them with fabulous products that they love, we will be able to keep them, because everybody loves new foods, and especially when you have a restricted lifestyle and you have children or families or people who literally could die from eating a peanut, and they don't know what kind of energy bar to eat or what the right cereal is or the right pasta. I believe that we can really make a difference for this customer. So that's where we are today.
I want to applaud you for your beta launch, and your presentation was incredible.
Thank you.
One big concern I have is you're sourcing this from another party. You deliver it to the customer. If the customer has an allergic reaction, does that make you liable?
No, we actually have a very specific agreement, and we'll have disclaimers that we've worked with our lawyers with to make sure that we're not liable. And we will have an agreement that the producer needs to sign to make sure that we don't have that responsibility, and we'll have insurance to make sure that we're covered there. That's what the lawyers are as costly as they may be.
Right.
But these are paying customers too, right?
These are all paying customers, yeah. So I should mention that we launched this for an exclusive launch price of $10 per month, or $50 for 6 months. and that's the price point that we did the initial launch at, and we are probably going to be somewhere between the $12 and $15 a month price point.
Go ahead.
So much of this is your input, your experience, your sourcing of foods, and I realize that's how things start. How does it scale up?
So my goal is, right now, I have on my team is Phyllis Canvasser, she's our CFO, but my goal is that eventually as we grow, I have 5 nutritionists that work for me now that have been part of my team for the last 5 years. So the goal is to be able to bring in additional nutritionists who can really help to understand my philosophy. If you go on to, can I get on my site to demo it for a second?
Yeah, go ahead. Why, go ahead, talk about it.
So if you go on my site, you'll see I have a very specific clean eating philosophy in the way that I have strict standards for the producers that I would work with. For instance, no artificial ingredients, nothing processed, thank you. So as long as I can work with nutritionists who understand my philosophy and can help me, because again, you know, these products, this market is growing so quickly, and I saw that as I worked for Plum Market. I was a corporate nutritionist for 3 years. So I saw, and that's where I became a product fanatic. And I saw that I couldn't keep up with the new gluten, dairy-free products on the shelf. So as long as I can have people who understand what I'm looking for, I think I'll be able to scale that with people to help me find products.
I applaud you on trying to use a process here. I'm wondering, what are your feelings of, your product is constantly changing every month.
Correct.
So how can you tell repeatability? That they like your product because the product changes every month.
Right, so my thought process is that we will do surveys and that we will really engage our customers, and to the point of really diving, I think you have a great point, Dan, in understanding what your customers want and need. Because I think if I start to spend enough time with the people that are early adopters, I can really understand what they're looking for in products. And I've already done some research to see, so what gluten-free products are you missing? What is not coming easily to you? And how do we make sure that we get enough of what those customers really need? Because my vision eventually for this box is we could have a vegan Savorfull box. We could have a kosher Savorfull box. There's enough populations in disease states that I think we could address for dietetics. But we have to understand what our customer really wants to make sure they come back every month.
I'm curious on whether you're looking at the customer wants change every month. Is that
You mean we're
really-
assuming that the customer wants change every month?
No, I'm saying that could be an end result. Are you monitoring if that is going to be an end result?
I think we'll have to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have any large competitors in this space, but the same space?
We really don't, actually, as of right now. We don't have a large competitor. There's a couple people who are doing some similar models with tasting of different foods, but not necessarily on a large scale in the way that we plan on growing ours. In the snack industry, I think there's some general healthy eating things, but no one's really addressing it the way that we are.
Do you ever consider creating your own brand?
Yes, we are. Actually, we're in the process of creating the Stacy Goldberg brand and the Savorfull brand, and eventually my goal will be to private label products. Yeah.
What about over here? Go ahead.
How did your first 500 customers find your company?
So we did some testing with some really different ideas. We tested doing Google paid search, and we got some good results. We didn't put tons of dollars in there. We know that that's part of what the investment that we'll try to raise will really go to is for paid search. We did Facebook ads, but we did an initial campaign to my What's in Your Cart company. We really tested that market first and used our existing contacts to really reach out to that population, but then also to see if the rest of the world would be interested. And we got great results with Google and Facebook.
We'll take one more question. Back all the way back there. Go ahead.
Hi, I really love the concept. My daughter does the Birch Box. I don't know
Yes.
if you've heard of that?
We are the Birch Box for food allergies.
Right. I like the way they have like a way to get the customer to actually go back and respond. They give them like discounts or something on, to make them come back and do reviews.
Yes.
And also, I was wondering, have you addressed like getting mommy bloggers involved?
Yeah, it's a great point. So we actually launched Lab 2 weeks ago. We went to the Gluten-Free, Allergen-Free Expo in Chicago, and we launched Savorfull there. And we had a great response. And the first day I went to a conference with all bloggers. And so at that point I engaged in with the biggest bloggers in the industry really. And we're sending the first Savorfull box to all of those bloggers to start engaging them. So, yeah.
Let's give it up to Stacy. Okay, whoever will make contact with this demo, we come down and grab it first and get rid of it. And actually, I assume when you talk about allergies, I mean, my son, he goes to school, he says that I gave him a peanut, was one of those nutty bars, and he said that he can't eat it, I'm thinking that he might have allergies, and I'm finding out that he never had allergies, it's just that he's been always told in school that you can't bring peanut butter, so it's like every time now peanut butter is bad.
Yeah, most schools are going peanut free.
Exactly. All right, so last and our last presenter, I'm going to pull them up. And you want to come up, you want to come down, or you want to come on stage. There's GreenLancer, and
Good evening, everybody. I'm Patrick from GreenLancer, the CEO. So everybody here is aware of Wisdom. We're proud members of Wisdom as well with Stacy. And we've got ourselves a clean energy company. We're engineers. And we're engineers in the sense that we help contractors all over the country develop renewable energy projects and also design and install them. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to basically bring these services to these contractors all over the country. And so clean tech is a growth industry. It is growing at an exponential rate. It's probably like growing like gluten-free industry as well. But it encompasses a couple different things. Some of the main things that you guys would recognize: solar, wind, geothermal, but also it has a lot of things to do with inside the building envelope, such as lighting and energy efficiency measures such as efficient boilers and appliances. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to help the contractors that are basically in middle America that have kind of been left behind in this whole clean tech explosion of growth. And so from what you can see here is that most of the industry is actually on both coasts. So we've got the East Coast, we've got the West Coast, and they're pretty progressive out there. But that's also where most of the energy experts are located as well. And so we've got these saturated markets that are filled with all the supply of all the experts on both coasts. And in the middle, we have all these contractors that want to do renewable energy projects, but they don't know how. They don't have access to qualified people. And so what GreenLancer is basically doing is we are bridging the experts on the coast to the contractors that want to do renewable energy projects in middle America. And I'm going to show a real quick video here that should kind of explain this a little bit.
Is that good here? Yeah, I'm well.
Yeah.
Is made up of green energy engineers. These are professionals from around the country that have the skills, education, and experience to make any project developer into a pro. In areas such as the Midwest or areas that are outside of the coast, there are not enough green energy professionals to develop green energy projects. GreenLancer has introduced a fundamentally new way to develop projects. We essentially bring the expertise to the developer. They can just interact with GreenLancer and tap the network. We support clients on all sides of the renewable energy industry, from integrators all the way through end users, OEMs, and distributors.
You don't need to have an in-house engineering department. We're your back office. But we bring together a task force of the experts and apply it to your particular project. We do all the calculations, the drawings, everything we need to buy the equipment, to install the equipment, to get the permits, and to bring your system online, and then we can even help you monitor it when it is up and running.
Our virtual storefront serves as a central data repository for our clients to log on to, manage their projects, track their project's progress, and access any information they need pertaining to each individual project. We take something very complex, break it down into a series of simple tasks, outsource it to qualified professionals, we receive it, assemble it, and deliver it. We offer clients project development services and technical support from a feasibility study to a concept design, financial analysis, on down to the permit drawings, all of which are easy for the customer to order online. They know exactly what they're going to get, when they're going to get it, and how much it's going to cost them. This speeds up the project, reduces the overall cost, and makes it available to more people who don't have these resources either in-house or by going to a brick-and-mortar engineering firm.
We like to think of ourselves as post-industrial engineers who are ushering in the green energy movement.
We're changing the game. It's a whole new way of thinking, and it's a new way of doing business.
You know, we're happy to be a part of this industry because it is the way of the future.
So I hope that gave everybody kind of an idea. I'm going to click back to this presentation.
The one to the right. Key, right? Up, not. Which one?
Okay, so real quickly, just so everybody understands how this works, I'm just going to walk through kind of how a contractor would interact with GreenLancer.com. And so most of the time when contractors were getting engineering services, they'd have to go to a brick and mortar firm, which is like the engineering firm in town, and they'd actually interact with that engineering firm. And so one of the things that is limited these brick and mortar firms is that they're really expensive. They've got a lot of high overhead associated with all the personnel in-house. They're kind of cumbersome and slow. And the other thing is that you're basically only accessing the most qualified people within a given region. And so in Detroit, we're not necessarily known for having a high level of these energy professionals. And so for a contractor, say in Detroit, that would want to be able to access this kind of expertise, it makes it really hard. So what they're able to do is they're able just to come to GreenLancer.com. How do I make this? I'm just looking to go back to where I was. So the contractor just basically comes to GreenLancer.com and they can order deliverables that are engineering deliverables. So to make a sale happen, they would order a feasibility study, a concept design, a financial analysis, and that basically gives them what you see over here in the corner, the documents that they need to sell renewable energy systems and also to get the permit to be able to install that. And so the contractor would come to GreenLancer.com and they order, say, a feasibility study. And instead of us hiring in-house resources, we have this network of professionals. And so we're basically like a virtual assembly line where we break up each deliverable into a bunch of small tasks and we crowdsource it to GreenLancers in the cloud. And so, we might have professional engineers in a talent pool, accountants in a talent pool, CAD drafters in a talent pool, and as the deliverable is getting built, basically, it's going from person to person and it's just kind of getting layered out until we finally come to a full deliverable. And that's when we basically have the quality assurance, which is that stern-looking gentleman in the middle there. He's essentially doing all the quality and assurance on the actual deliverable. And so if there's corrections that need to be made, he would basically handle it and hand it back to the GreenLancer. But when the deliverables done and set, we have, it's basically like a PDF that is sent to the actual client through the website. So the client has a portal, he logs in, he's able to order products, upload project information, and manage his project all in one place and order services for it. And in turn, he gets really quick, cost-effective service that's, we're using the best of the best in the country. So it kind of takes care of two different problems that contractors are finding. That's expertise and then also cost-effective engineering services. And so that's GreenLancer in a nutshell. Is there any questions? How did you come up with the solution? Like, did you have this problem yourself? I started working in solar. I'm a solar guy, and so I was basically freelancing for several different companies at the same time. And we kind of started with a company called Stellar PV that was just doing it for solar. And we decided that with the growth of the ECM, so energy conservation measures, so this marketplace is blowing up. So we decided to expand not only our scope, but also how we were going to kind of take care of it.
Yeah. What is the value of putting in front of your pitch here the fact that you're using some new technologies to get the end result, to get the product? Is that of value in your thinking?
Yeah, well, okay, so when we're using technology, I'm basically thinking like mobile technology. So when the contractor's on site, he can communicate information to GreenLancer.com through like a tablet or take his laptop on site. And so when we're talking technology, we're just talking communication and how that's facilitating faster turnarounds.
I'm using in your banner green engineering through the cloud. I kept asking why. What's the value? I don't care what you're using.
Are you
Just
talking
give
about
me the
cloud
services.
versus web? Why didn't you use even something?
You're just saying show me how it benefits me.
Right. Not how you're doing it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But what you're doing. The fact that you're using the cloud technologies and that you have all these other technologies within your process. Okay, is that of value to the end user? Or is he's used to walking into a shop, handing something over, and he doesn't care what goes on in the back, right? He only cares what comes out front. How you get the stuff out?
Well, now he doesn't have to go to that office. Now he just has to be in his truck or something and send it to the actual office, communicate with personnel, and it makes it much more simple for him. And the technology takes all the overhead out, so it makes it less expensive. And then because we can assemble 20 engineers at one project, he gets it quicker. So there's two things why it's good to be online versus a brick and mortar firm.
You're not trying to sell get online. You're trying to sell engineering services.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead.
What do you estimate the cost differential to be? Obviously, different projects will be, but I mean, in general versus brick and mortar engineering.
Well, we figure, so we've got two different competitors. We've got direct and indirect. In-house, our indirect competitors, we're about half the cost of hiring an in-house resource, and we're about a third of the cost of doing business with a brick and mortar firm.
And do you have any examples yet that you've project from start?
Yeah, so we've got projects right now all over the country. We've got over 100 solar projects in progress. We're doing projects in Mexico, Honduras. We've just got done with doing some DoD stuff in Afghanistan. So we're actually got a global footprint at this point. We've been in business about 6 months, and so we've not even started a sales effort yet. It's simply been from referrals here in our area.
Are they paying?
Oh yeah, yep, got traction, and we've got generating revenues and stuff. So
What's your run rate?
what's that?
What's your run rate right now?
Our burn rate?
Your run rate, your revenue run rate.
Revenue run rate?
Yeah.
So right now we're spending about 12 grand a month in our burn rate, and we've got probably about 4 months of runway.
Okay. Anyone else? Are you guys, staff, what are you guys looking for? Are you guys looking for more resources, more marketing, or what type
Yeah,
of?
so we're actually launching our back end here in a month, and we pretty much, we've raised a little bit of funding, but a lot of what we're doing is we're actually getting loans on our cash flow, I guess. So we're able to fund a lot of what we've done so far, but we are looking to raise some capital.
Good question. How many employees do you have?
We've just got 3 people, and they're all co-founders, and then because we don't necessarily have to hire people because we have this network, we're able to have, we've got like 100 different GreenLancers right now that we utilize.
And I like that they're all from different schools, and then none of them from you guys.
Thank you guys.
Good job. Okay, team. That does it. This is where, at this time, we're actually going to go around. There's going to be a couple of things. I think there's a couple people who want to plug in their ideas. And so at this time, anything that's going on, any event that's coming down the road, anyone want to share coming up in May?
Yeah. I actually have 2 Wisdom events coming up next week that are free and open to the public. You guys can go to wisdom.com, click on our events tab for information. Tuesday night, May 8th here on the 5th floor of the Madison, we've got an event that is basically, we're inviting all developers, designers, and web content writers who are looking for project-based work or the possibility to join a startup as a co-founder or team member. We've got different startups that are here at the Madison that have some amazing opportunities. So great opportunity to meet up with them, see if you might have a potential match together. That's Tuesday night. Then Thursday night, May 10th, also here on the 5th floor, we've got Tim Smith, the CEO of Skidmore Studios, which is an amazing creative design firm on the 4th floor of the Madison. He's going to be sharing wisdom and ideas for people on branding and designing for their startups. So again, those are both free and open to the public. You just need to RSVP on our website.
Any reason to come back to the Madison, you should do it.
It'll be fun. Tuesday, Thursday night, good times.
Okay, we got a couple of things coming up. Is the over on the West Coast, we got the annual Michigan Lean Startup Conference that's going to be there, and a lot of us are going to be there. Actually, it's already. I think this is the 2nd year, correct?
Yeah, this is their 2nd year. It's a great event in Grand Rapids.
You want to get some network? You want to learn some
They started
ideas?
last night at CompuWare.
Yeah. Lean Startup Circle started last night, first one here in Detroit. Last night, check it out on meetup.com. Lean Startup Circle Detroit.
Okay. And then we got the, this is from our Midland group, Blue Wire Angels. They have an event up there for a bunch of startups too. It's called the Big Leap. I think this is the 4th year, so it's another opportunity for anyone to kind of meet a different area, a different region for what's going on up there. Besides that, anyone else? I know there are a couple of guys who want to plug in their startups. Here we go. Over there.
I don't have a startup yet. What I do have is an online multimedia show called America's Finest AMF. I just recently had Ted Serbinsky from Detroit Venture Partners on my show. I had Greg Schwartz from Up To, which is the Detroit Venture Partners funded company, on the show. And we talked a lot about how they're revitalizing Detroit, turning it from Motor City to Silicon City. I kind of made that phrase up. And I'm inviting anybody who wants to come on and promote their company, promote their ideas, promote themselves. Get to me. I'm willing to give anybody a platform to reach the people. So that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean.
Anyone else? Okay, with that, we're going to just end it. There's more food over there. I know James gracious enough to stick around. I got a lot from him. I appreciate that you got an opportunity to talk to one of them. And just go ahead and network. Yeah.